In fact, he used to always complain when he'd come to work that he's exhausted because he's up all night cooking and cleaning the house and housing her family in his apartment with her as well. And she doesn't do any cooking or cleaning because she claims that he's such a good cook and such a good cleaner. And, you know, this is an attractive guy. Guys, if you saw this guy, you would be thinking to yourself, how can this guy become a slave and a maid to a purple-haired feminazi? Like, how is this possible? Hello, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to talk about how lots of beta males, whether you believe it or not, but just walk outside, look at your friends, look at your families, look at your guys that women find attractive around you. Lots of them, lots of handsome men can still be beta males. In fact, the majority are, okay? Because it comes easy to them. Getting women comes too easy to these guys. So a lot of times they don't have to necessarily, because they physically look attractive, they don't have to develop the other qualities, the inner qualities that an alpha male naturally has. And I hate using both these terms. Let's just say alpha male is just a real man and a beta male is a pedestalizer of women. It puts other people's needs before himself. Is effeminate or more in tune with his feminine side. Okay, so we're just gonna use those terms instead of beta male and alpha male. I hate those terms, but it doesn't show up in Google if I don't use that in the title in the video, so I have to use it. Okay, so I'm gonna briefly describe a quick story time to you guys. I wrote some notes down, so if you see me looking off to the side, I'm just reading off the notes, but it has to do with a beta male that was a physically attractive guy. Well, most women found him physically attractive. I don't rate men necessarily on the looks, but he wasn't a bad looking dude, okay? Like he got women, from what I could tell, at least interested in how he looked until what was inside him came out. Okay, and we're gonna talk about that in a story time. It's very eye-opening. I'm gonna quickly describe his body language, how he carries himself, and that'll give you sort of a better illustration of how he looks. So when I'm telling you this story, you kind of have a better understanding of who this kind of guy is. Remember, he is a physically attractive looking dude for most women, okay? So his body language, however, exposed a different side to him. And what I always say on this channel is whatever is within you and how you truly feel about yourself on the inside always rises to the surface and presents itself in subtle or non-subtle ways. In this case, it was subtle and then it became obvious over time, especially after the story I'm telling you. So this guy presented himself usually with his arms crossed. So when you're talking to someone, you're in a room and you're around other people and there's conversation going on, if you have your arms crossed like this, or in front of you, or to your side, or you're covering your private parts, if you're someone that's studied body language like I have to on this channel and I've talked about, that shows a little bit of insecurity. And it also shows that you're shut down, you know? You may be feeling uncomfortable with the conversation. Maybe not feeling the most secure in yourself. Like I said, insecurity. So those of you that study body language, you know these things just from studying it, and you can kind of get a vibe on this even if you haven't studied body language. When someone's talking to you and they have their arms crossed like this, you know, they're shutting you off. They're shut down. They're actually self-comforting themselves. They're making themselves feel better because their mom used to hold them like this when they were little babies. So it actually triggers their subconscious mind. So besides him having his arms crossed, his hands covering his privates a lot, especially in pictures and stuff like that, you know, he would cross his legs. And I don't mean like the normal dude, like when you're sitting up on a couch and you cross your ankle to ankle, even though like I don't really do that either, but he would cross thigh over thigh. And to me, that's very effeminate. You know, that type of body language is extremely feminized. A man should have open body language. He shouldn't feel closed off. Once again, that's showing that he's, you know, comforting himself. He's closing himself off to the rest of the world. And he doesn't want to take up space and be a man about it. He also wore very high shorts. And I know that's a trend these days, but you know, I'm in the Bay Area. It's a common thing. Those of you guys that are around this area, you understand, but I'm someone that I'm never fell into the high shorts club. Never found that appealing. A lot of women I talk to, the feminine ones, they don't like the guys with the high shorts, the booty cheeks, the Daisy Duke club of new effeminate beta males either. So take note of that, guys. Women don't find that attractive, okay? You know, women are supposed to be showing off their legs, if anything, not you as a guy, because all you're going to attract is the attention of gay men, okay, or masculine women, which we'll talk about later as well. So, okay, now you have basically an understanding of how this guy looks physically and how he kind of carries himself and presents himself to the world. So I'm going to quickly explain the story time that made me want to talk about this video, because I recently ran into this guy. We have no beef, we're completely cool, but it just reminded me of like the time that we did work together. So I wanted to share it with you guys on this channel so you could learn from his mistakes and from what I observed. Okay, so when I first met this guy, we worked at a place where it was dominated by women, let's just say. And he had been basically the man there. He was like one of the only guys that was there. And he had basically his harem of women, or at least he wasn't doing anything with these women, but they found him attractive and he was in a leadership position. So when I came around, you know, I'm another guy, and it creates sort of, you know, a little bit of a threat, because he's the only guy. Now another guy enters the scene, and there's just gonna always be, unfortunately, you know how it is with guys, there's that sort of, how do I say it? There's a fight over dominance, or like it's in the Lion Kingdom. It happens all the time where, you know, a male lion will hook up with a lioness, and if the lioness has cubs, the male lion is so he has such a strong ego that he'll actually kill the baby cubs and like eat them, I think, or just kill them, get rid of them, and then he will assume full responsibility of the woman, the lioness, and impregnate her with his own seed. That's how strong it is in the Lion Kingdom and the Animal Kingdom. So it's sort of one of those things going on where he's the dude that was there, and I'm the new dude that just came in. And I remember one of our shifts we were working together, it was like me, this other girl, and then him. And he came up to me and like randomly just asked me a question. He's like, hey, what would you do, for example, if you found this one girl attractive, but she was with a group of her friends? How would you interact with this girl to like get her to like you? Like, what would you do if she was surrounded by a bunch of other girls? How would you get her interest? And I basically explained to him, you know, what I would do in a situation like that, because I've been in a situation like that, is, and I have this channel, is I would talk to probably the least attractive friend or all the other friends around her. And I would basically, the attractive one, I would say like, hey, what's up? But I'd immediately direct my attention to probably one of the least attractive ones or one of the other friends in the group. And I would start like getting to know her more, and basically get the more attractive one who's so used to guys validating her and vying for her attention and her approval to be like, why isn't this guy showing me attention? This never happens, blah, blah, blah. And then she starts feeling insecure about herself. And then I can play her along. I can play with that insecurity she's feeling while I'm talking to her other friends. And then eventually she'll want to talk to me and get to know me as well, because I'll be laughing over here with her friends, having a good time. And it just makes it easier also as the night goes on, because her friends like you because you talk to them first. If you want to get with the other girl, you've already passed the test with her friends, so they feel comfortable like leaving you two alone. That's that. You guys should click the donate button for that one. That's some game right there. But anyways, he takes this information, this guy I'm telling you about, and what does he do with it? He's like shocked. He's like, oh my God, dude. So you're like one of those, like, you just play games with women. And I'm like, you not realize like women play games with us all the time? Like, they wear push-up bras, or those her real lashes? Is that her face really looks? Is that, or is she just wearing a ton of makeup? Or does her butt fall down when she's not wearing tight jeans? Like, women are constantly playing games with us. And what I'm doing here is I'm making sure that, hey, you know what? Maybe her unattractive friends, if anything, they might actually have a better personality on the inside, someone I can actually talk to more than the attractive friend. So I'm playing games. I'm playing the game that she started, that women started, but I'm using it also to my advantage. It's all a game at the end of the day. So after I tell him this, he's shocked, and you know, I should know better as someone that's RP aware that is not still living in the matrix. I can't be sharing information like this, I forget, to the unenlightened guys out there, the guys that do not have this information and knowledge. And I just sometimes think that you and I that watch videos like this, we're the majority in the world, and we're not. It just feels like that in this space on the web, but I get caught up in that sometimes. So he takes this information and he walks his ass over to the corner where the girl is, and basically is like, you won't believe what Elon said. It's my name. He's like, I asked him what he would do to attract a woman that's in a crowd with her friends, in a group with her friends. What would he do to try to get her attention? And he basically said he would ignore her and talk to all her friends. He's a game player. That he's playing games with women, thinking that the girl he's telling this to is gonna side with him, and somehow, you know, they're gonna team up against me and I'm gonna be the villain, right? Little does he know that he's saying this to a real female out there. Shout out to her. I'm not gonna say her name or his name on this video, but yeah, you know what? She heard what he had to say. She looks at him and says, he's absolutely right. That's how you do. That's how that would attract me. You know, he's right. You ignore the one that you're attracted to, and then she will want to gain your approval and your interest and your validation because you're not giving it to her, and she's so used to other guys always pedestalizing her and giving it to her. So shout out to her for actually understanding this. But it just shows you, this is the type of world with guys that we live in, guys. Like, guys will literally take what you tell them in private and go to tell women that don't trust this guy over here because what he said to me in private shows that he's a misogynist. He thinks this way about women. He's a manipulator. He's a game player. You shouldn't deal with him. And this guy, he's good looking enough or handsome enough to not have to do that, to not have to try to throw salt at me. And instead, you know, he's showing his effeminate nature by being a snitch, by being a tattletale, by trying to win the approval of this other woman in the department store and try to put me in a bad light. So that was just one example I wanted to share with you guys. Maybe that's happened to you before. Maybe a guy's tried to throw some salt in your game. Type that in the comment section below if that's happened to you, you know. But I've seen this guy's girlfriend. This is another thing I'm going to talk about, but he used to complain a lot to me as well about his relationship and his girlfriend. So I would always be curious, like, hey, like, how's your relationship going? Like, what's going on now? And I saw his girlfriend. She had purple hair. I saw her Instagram. She also makes a lot of political posts. And she's one of those, like, she's a cat lady. She's like a future cat lady. She's very masculine as well. And she's just one of those typical feminazis. In fact, he used to always complain when he'd come to work that he's exhausted because he's up all night cooking and cleaning the house and housing her family in his apartment with her as well. And she doesn't do any cooking or cleaning because she claims that he's such a good cook and such a good cleaner. And, you know, this is an attractive guy. Guys, if you saw this guy, you would be thinking to yourself, how can this guy become a slave and a maid to a purple-haired feminazi? Like, how is this possible? And how can he be a snitch? Like, how can he do what he did to me at work and try to get me in trouble like that? But these are the majority of men in the world today, unfortunately. Most men are beta males. Most men will do anything they can to one up the next man and get theirs over him, even if he's trying to help them. And men like this, what he shared with me also was the reason he even attracted his girlfriend, because he said that, you know, he didn't have much conversation skills, he had no game and no way to talk to women, was he would wait for women to approach him and be aggressive towards him. That would basically give him then the green light to talk back to her and kind of push the interaction forward. But he would actually tell me this, she would take charge and lead the way every time and she would like invite him back to the car, the hotel, or her place or whatever. She was leading and in the masculine role the entire time, while he was in the feminine role. That's another thing. A lot of you that are watching that, you might not necessarily find yourself the most attractive or the most handsome guy out there, but you know, you're thinking just by looking on the outside, all these attractive guys, they're getting all these women, it's just so easy for them. And yeah, for some, you know, there's gonna be really easy lays for a lot of these guys, okay? They can just show up sometimes and women are gonna find them so attractive that it's really easy for them to just hook up. But on the other side, on the flip side, a lot of these guys that haven't had to struggle with women and had to learn a lot of the stuff I talk about on this channel and build themselves up from the core on the inside, you know, what's going to happen is they're going to meet a very masculine woman that's going to use them, and the role is actually going to reverse. And what you're seeing a lot of times when you see these attractive guys with women is the woman is the head while the man is attractive. He's like the tail. He's sort of like the arm candy for the woman. He's the Instagram boyfriend for the woman. He's just there to boost her ego, to look good, so that she can brag about having a hot man by her side instead of being single and alone and having no one to go to Thanksgiving and Christmas with around the holiday season. But behind closed doors, you know, that guy is a little bitch. That guy is her lapdog, her lassie. And you're thinking this whole time, this guy's like, he's killing it with women, all these different things, he's having his way, he's the man. But that couldn't be farther from the truth in a lot of these situations. I'm sure maybe you might be one of those guys that women find attractive, but you've had to work your way through building your own self-confidence and your core value, and you learn over time that women bow to that over your looks. They submit to a man that carries himself in true masculinity through and through, rather than someone that just looks good on the outside. A lot of times the most alpha guys aren't even the best looking. It's just the way they carry themselves. They have that inner fire, that inner lion about themselves that's not necessarily pretty on the outside, but it's just in their aura and their energy, and women can feel that. Women get more attracted to that than anything. And the last point I want to say is, don't look at whether or not women find men physically handsome. If you're not a guy that's maybe physically handsome or attractive, look at whether or not women respect and submit to this man. Look at that, because that will speak for itself. Like I talked about, it doesn't matter how good a man looks. What matters is, does this woman submit to his authority and his leadership? So just because the guy is handsome looking, it doesn't mean he's a real man that gets real respect behind closed doors. Think about your own lives. Think about the men that you see in your life. And if maybe there's a handsome guy or men that have been told that they're handsome that you know of, think about how they're being treated by their wives behind closed doors or their girlfriends. You know, and a lot of the truth will be exposed. Not just how they look physically on the outside because they look good and their Instagram pictures look good, but look at how she respects him and submits to him, or listens to his authority and his leadership and what he teaches her in their relationship. That will expose so much more to you. Drop a like on this video to get more of this knowledge. Hit that subscribe button because you don't want to miss content like this, because no one's doing content like this on YouTube. Ring the bell notification so you stay updated, and share this video so more guys get it. I'll see you guys next week. Have a good one.